Okay, boys and girls, we're going to start a new book. We finished Swindle, so now we're going to go with James and the Giant Peach. This was started on the reading day, but I'm going to start from the beginning so we can remember what happened. First, I'm going to start by reading the book cover on the back, and then we'll jump right in. These unlikely friends are about to set off on an extraordinary adventure. When James accidentally drops some magic crystals by the old peach tree, strange things start happening. The peach at the very tip of the tree starts growing and growing and growing until it's as big as a house. When James crawls inside, he meets a house full of oversized friends: grasshopper, centipede, ladybug, and more. With a snip of the stem, the peach starts rolling away and the adventure begins. Before the story starts, there's a little page that says, "A little magic can take you a long way." Most people, and especially small children, are often quite scared of being out of doors alone in the moonlight. Everything is so deadly quiet, and the shadows are so long and black, and they keep turning into strange shapes that seem to move as you look at them, and the slightest little snap of a twig makes you jump. James felt exactly like that now. He stared straight ahead with large frightened eyes, hardly daring to breathe. Not far away in the middle of the garden, he could see the giant peach towering over everything else. Surely it was even bigger tonight than ever before. And what a dazzling sight it was. The moonlight was shining and glinting on its great curving sides, turning them to crystal and silver. It looked like a tremendous silver ball lying there in the grass, silent, mysterious, and wonderful. And then, all at once, little shivers of excitement started running all over the skin on Jack's back. Something else, he told himself, something stranger than ever this time is about to happen to me again soon. He was sure of it. He could feel it coming. He looked around him, wondering what on earth it was going to be. The garden lay soft and silver in the moonlight. The grass was wet with dew, and a million dewdrops were sparkling and twinkling like diamonds around his feet. And now suddenly the whole place, the whole garden, seemed to be alive with magic. Almost without knowing what he was doing, as though drawn to by some powerful magnet, James Henry Trotter started walking slowly toward the giant peach. There's our title page, James and the Giant Peach. There's a whole list of other books by Roald Dahl that you might want to read as well. And it's illustrated by Quentin Blake. Now, the first edition came out in 1961, and since then there's been lots of other editions of this. There's a dedication page here. This book is for Olivia and Tessa. Many times authors will write a dedication page to someone that they care about. Chapter 1, page 1. Until he was 4 years old, James Henry Trotter had a happy life. He lived peacefully with his mother and father in a beautiful house beside the sea. There were always plenty of other children for him to play with. And there was the sandy beach for him to run about on, and the ocean to paddle in. It was the perfect life for a small boy. Then one day James's mother and father went to London to do some shopping, and there a terrible thing happened. Both of them suddenly got eaten up, in full daylight, mind you, on a crowded street, by an enormous angry rhinoceros, which had escaped from the London Zoo. Now this, as you can well imagine, was a rather nasty experience for such gentle parents. But in the long run, it was far nastier for James than it was for them. Their troubles were all over in a jiffy. They were dead and gone in 35 seconds flat. Poor James, on the other hand, was very much still alive, and all at once he found himself alone and frightened in a vast, unfriendly world. The lovely house by the seaside had to be sold immediately, and the little boy, carrying nothing but a small suitcase containing a pair of pajamas and a toothbrush, was sent away to live with his 2 aunts. Their names were Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker, And I'm sorry to say that they were both really horrible people. They were selfish and lazy and cruel, and right from the beginning they started beating poor James for almost no reason at all. They never called him by his real name, but always referred to him as "you disgusting little beast," or "you filthy nuisance," or "you miserable creature," and they certainly never gave him any toys to play with or any picture books to look at. His room was as bare as a prison cell. They lived, Aunt Sponge, Aunt Spiker, and now James as well, in a queer ramshackle house on the top of a hill in the south of England. The hill was so high that from almost anywhere in the garden James could look down and see for miles and miles across a marvelous landscape of woods and fields. And on a very clear day, if he looked in the right direction, he could see a tiny gray dot far away on the horizon, which was the house that he used to live in with his beloved mother and father. And just beyond that, he could see the ocean itself, a long thin streak of blackish blue, like a line of ink beneath the rim of the sky. But James was never allowed to go down off the top of that hill. Neither Aunt Sponge nor Aunt Spiker could ever be bothered to take him out herself, not even for a small walk or a picnic, and he certainly wasn't permitted to go alone. "The nasty little beast will only get into mischief if he goes out of the garden," Aunt Spiker had said, and terrible punishments were promised him, such as being locked up in the cellar with the rats for a week, if he even so much as dreaded to climb over the fence. The garden, which covered the whole of the top of the hill, was large and desolate, and the only tree in the entire place, apart from a clump of old laurel bushes at the far end, was an ancient peach tree that never gave any peaches. There was no swing, no seesaw, no sand pit, and no other children were ever invited to come up to the hill to play with poor James. There wasn't so much as a dog or a cat around to keep him company, and as time went on he became sadder and sadder and more lonely, and he used to spend hours every day standing at the bottom of the garden, gazing wistfully at the lovely but forbidden world of woods and fields and ocean that was spread out below him like a magic carpet. So that was chapter 1. Bleak start, so hopefully we get a little bit happier as we go.